Hello and welcome to Ivory Blush Roses. My name is Lisa and today we're going to take a look at all the projects that I finished in 2024. I had 4 big project finishes, plus I have a few smaller ones. We're going to be taking a look at a few other things like artwork and some of the other creative projects that I've been involved in this year. I started filming this a few days ago and I'm going to try and get it finished today. So let's take a look at my 2024 projects and what's to come. Let's go ahead and get started. So here are these cute backpacks that I made for my grandsons. These are from a Moda panel called Stomp Stomp Roar, and it includes not only the little backpack, but the mouth opens up and you've got the fun throat in it. And of course I had to hide some dinosaurs in it. And I've stuffed this with some of their other Christmas gifts as well. It has a little stuffy that goes with it. I think that my grandsons, who are 5 and 2, will enjoy that. Let's go see what the girls got. The grandgirls are both 8. They're also both very creative and they're enjoying a lot of different types of activities, and I thought they're at the perfect year to get them started with some sewing. So I made 2 little sewing kits. Let's take a closer look. These are the 2 little sewing kits. So these zip open, and these were based on a pattern from a YouTuber by the name of Erica Art. She has lovely tutorials and I really enjoyed this. Here are the 2 little sewing kits. We have a pocket and I've put in a 4-inch embroidery hoop. We have a set of graduated embroidery needles, tape measure, there's some thread, there's a cute seam ripper. They each have a pair of scissors, not too big for small hands. There's some bobbins. They do have another package coming with embroidery thread and some fabric. There's some straight pins and a little pin cushion. I did the same on both of them but tried to color coordinate them. I'm just real pleased with how they turned out. I think they're going to be lots of fun. I'm pleased with how it turned out and I think the girls will have fun. Part of the Christmas gift is time spent with Grandmama to learn how to use these by making a felt needle book. The other thing I wanted to show you that's going in some of the grandkids' gifts is I made some little photo books of some adventures we had over the summer. Let me show you the little books I made. I love spending days in the mountains. I usually try and take a day with my grandkids each summer. I took the pictures that we took and I wrote a little story. And so they have pictures of their day with Grandmama and something that they can read and have those memories for posterity. So that's going in their Christmas gift. Some of you may know that about 25 years ago, we had a house fire and we lost nearly everything. But we were able to save a lot of those photos, but a lot of them were smoke damaged or we just had the negatives. So one of the things I've been doing for my kids is scanning all of those negatives and photos and then taking them and turning them into family photo books. So let me go show you what I've been doing with that. Each photo book so far has been about 3 years, and I started the year that my ex-husband and I got married because that's really where my kids' story starts. And so they have those pictures as well. And I've just been going through and taking those photos, been scanning them, also my folks' photos, and then I put a calendar for each year, what we know, the big events, birthdays, Christmases, what we were doing, where we were, and making photo books. And these are pictures that the kids don't have. And it's taken a lot of editing to remove smoke damage and dust, make the photos so that you could actually see what was on a lot of them. But that has been a lot of fun and a lot of work. On the same line, I've been working on photo books for myself. One of the projects I've been working on is documenting my 2018 trip to France, England, Netherlands, Germany, and then I came back to the US on the Queen Mary 2. It's divided up into several books, sort of segments of the trip. And then this 4th book, that was one of the big things I completed this year. Those are the things that I wanted to make sure I showed you before I gifted them away. I'll be back, but on a different day. Hello, Mushu. Oh my gosh. The first big project finish that I had this year was finishing the autumn bell pull. Now we're looking at it sideways here. But I am so happy with this finish. it just made my heart sing to get it done. I'm happy with my block and how it coordinated with some of these other ones that were on it. Really fun to have that all completed. Really pleased with that finish. Back in 2020, I had done a big list of projects that I wanted to get finished that year, and that was one of the things on that list. Another item on that list was my black pearl project. All of these, for the most part, have been around for a while. So I'm really pleased to get this black pearl project finished. It didn't come out quite the way I initially had imagined it. But you know what? It still works, and I'm really pleased with it. And I think one of the things that I really love about it was this label. I think that was one of my favorite parts of finishing it, just one of those little serendipitous things. So it probably will actually go back out on my entryway table once all the holiday decorations come down. That was another of the 2020 projects. So I'm really pleased with that one. Another big project that I began a few years ago was this one. Watch for a video coming on this one. And this was a huge finish for me. Hours and hours and hours of stitching over the span of about 3 to 4 years, and it is finished. I'm really happy with that one. I'm really happy with the way the quilt label on the back turned out. This one has currently been sitting on my dining room table here, and it's going to probably be out year-round. I love this project. I'm just so thrilled with it. So you may have been watching rickrack videos recently, and so we finished that whole rickrack sampler. Now what you may not know is that I actually stitched 2. I started stitching one, and I realized that, gee, this is something that I probably ought to be filming, and so then I started and stitched this one. And I just was looking at that and realized I've got something on the other one that I don't have on here. So there's so many more possibilities, but this was just a wonderful opportunity to play and explore. How many ways can I attach rickrack using simple, basic stitches without using multiple types of stitches? So I really had fun with that one, and I hope you have enjoyed that series as well. So that's my 4 big finishes. Oh, there's the other one that we just finished here. And that, of course, is the Crazy Quilt Christmas tree. And what a joy it is to get this one finished. I purchased the kit, I believe in 2014 or 15 when I was at a retreat. I got it stitched together, and then I realized I didn't like their primitive take on it, but I couldn't figure out what to do until I found these big stars at Hobby Lobby, and the whole piece was just born from that. So we worked on that last Christmas and then this recent Christmas as well. So that's another huge finish, and I think that also was on my 2020 project list. So as far as stitching goes, I have another little finish. This is a small one. I didn't film any of this. It's a pin cushion. I think this one is made with wide mouth canning jar lids, so it's actually a really nice practical size. But I have all these little blocks that I've made. Hello, Finn. Oh my gosh. Poor Finn's been in trouble today, so he's a little out of sorts. So anyway, I've been making all these blocks with scrap fabrics, and I had this one. And one of the gals in my Crazy Quilt Club group wanted to know how to make a pin cushion, so I embellished it in one class, and then we made the pin cushion in the second class. And so that's just a little functional pin cushion because there's very few beads on it, but lots of fun. Let me know if you're interested in seeing a tutorial for a pin cushion like that. Another project that I did this year was I made a number of these Crazy Quilt ornaments, and these are actually called a thimble pip. They open up and you can store your thimble in them and put a little treat in them. These were the first 2 that I made, and I made a number of others, but I gifted them to friends. I taught my Crazy Club group how to make these as well. So that's a finish. I don't think I have a picture of all of them together because they went out the door. Let's take a look at some of the other handwork I did But these are going to be things that I did not finish, but things that I worked on. The first one is this slow stitching piece. So this slow stitching piece is definitely my winter project, and I just had fun stitching on it. I originally thought I was going to make a purse out of it, but I did not turn the edges underneath, and I don't think it's sturdy enough to use as a purse. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. I might make a new journal cover for it. I just haven't decided yet, so we'll see. I really love working like that, just having fun stitching, and I have no pre-designed plan. I just kind of make it up as I go. And I always love the back as well. And this is a project I really have not filmed any of. It was just my personal stitching project that I wanted something to work on. And then the idea it was going to fold it in half and look like so. So I may still make a little tote bag out of it. I'm just not sure. We'll see on that one. I also got started on these wonky log cabin blocks, and I'm really happy with these. They're not square, despite my best attempts, but I've had fun with them. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do with that as well. This is the one that I actually was thinking would make a good journal cover, but I need a couple more blocks and then it needs some border around it. But that's been a huge amount of fun, something I've really enjoyed, and that's just kind of an evening stitching when I want something to work on. Then, of course, we have our autumn pillow top that we've been working on, and I think we have 10 seams left to finish on this. We're going to try and do that in January. That's my goal, that the weekday videos will be getting this project finished. Some of these seams shouldn't take too long because they're going to be fairly short. We're going to get that finished. So watch for those videos coming in January. I really would like to get this done and out of the way so that I can focus on some other projects. And I just want to see it finished as well. So stay tuned for that one. We're also going to take a look at the stuff that I finished that I have hanging on the wall in the sewing room. So we'll go do that now. One of the things I finished was this silk ribbon embroidery piece that I put in this little shelf, and I'm so pleased with how it turned out. I put this doily in an embroidery hoop and stitched it down so you could really see it. This is that piece of antique brocade. And it's really hard to see in this light, and I apologize for that. This again is a piece of fabric from my friend Carol, and I stretched it after washing it, and it's from an old chair seat, so much of it is quite dirty, and even soaking it for 24 hours, I wasn't able to get all the dirt out. It's just probably a century worth of dirt or more. But it had a little bunny on it, and I just had to frame it and put it on the wall, so I got that done. I also got this piece framed, and that is a piece of Italian damask. And the estimated date on that fabric is the 1400s, and I just had to put it on my wall so I could enjoy it and see it and wonder at this piece of fabric that is probably 400 to 500 years old. It's just really an amazing piece. We're going to take a look at some of the things that I would like to get done, which from past experience doesn't mean that they will get done. My priority project for 2025, get the autumn pillow done, and then I want to finish my mother's crazy quilted pillow. Now, you may remember, if you've been watching for a while, that I asked everybody to tell me what project they thought I should work on next, and I gave you 3 options. The reality is, it came out a 3-way tie. The Midsummer Fairy edged it ever so slightly, but then as votes continued to come in, I think this one won out. We have to finish piecing it. Some of this is not tacked down in here, and so we'll do that. Cats everywhere here. The kitties are having a day. Pardon the interruptions and the yowling in the background. So once we finish the autumn pillow, this is going to be the next frequent stitching project that we're going to work on. And we'll talk more about that when that time comes. So look for that starting probably in February. I think it'll take us most of January to finish the autumn pillow project. So the autumn fairy is another project I would like to finish this year. I have been working on it, and I have done some filming. I think I've already got 3 videos filmed on this series. And so we'll be working on that. And this one is going to be fun because it's not going to be just embroidery on this one. We're going to be adding some silk ribbon embroidery, and I'm going to be making some moonflowers to tumble off in a couple of directions here. And so we'll be playing with that, but that's coming. I would love to get this one finished this year. Here's hoping on that one. I'm not sure on the start date for that yet. Then the other project that we had was this, what I call the Scottish block. I am thinking I'd like to turn this into a pincushion. I haven't been able to think of a project that I was really excited about making with it. It's an 8-inch block, so it's not a really big block. I don't intend on making any more to go with it. These were all scraps that I found at my mom's when I was visiting once, and I don't have access to any of those anymore. I'm thinking a 6-inch pincushion will be nice. It'll curl around, and my hope is to make a stumpwork thistle to go on that. So that will be coming, but I think that's going to be down the road a little bit this year, probably after we get the Midsummer Fairy finished. If I make too concrete of plans, it's just guaranteed to fail. So we're not going to attempt to make those decisions right now. Let's look at some other things, because I often find that I like to work on projects that I'm not filming. So let me show you a few of those. Another project I have that I would like to work on is this. I think it's really a dress or scarf. I think it's time to get it finished. There's not a lot left to do. One of the things that slowed me down is I lost the right threads, and trying to figure out what vintage threads I use has been a bit of a challenge. I started off redoing them with this one and it was not right. I have haunted eBay and Etsy looking for the right threads, and I think I finally came up with them. So I'm pretty sure it's this one. And so I'd like to get this finished. That's one of my goals for this year. That's going to be my evening stitching for a while here, trying to get this finished. This is another 2020 project that I had. I have this beautiful block. It was one of the very first big round robins that I was in. My dear friend, Jerry Kruger, there's a blog called Older Rose that she kept track of, and she did fabulous crazy quilting. She made all these bunnies for me. She knew how much I loved bunnies, and I just absolutely adore them. I want to get this framed so I can put it out this spring. So that, hopefully, there's the cat. The cats are just crazy this morning. So hopefully this will be an early finish. I have the frame. I just need to get it stretched and matted, and then I'll hang that on my wall this spring. A long time ago, I knit and felted this bag. When I did it, I thought, oh, this is going to be perfect. I will use it to carry my watercolor supplies in. Well, it's a little too loose. Even with the felting, it needs a lining, and I never had the right fabric. But I've gotten several donations of fabric this year. In it was this beautiful fabric. I'm going to line this bag with this, and then I'm going to put some grosgrain ribbon on the inside of this to help hold it out so the handle is a little bit nicer. There is a tiny buttonhole in here, so I need to add a button to that. So that's a project I would love to get finished. When I teach a class, I usually use a pattern for a block and have everybody make that block. I made this one to demonstrate. I thought, oh, that would make a perfect pocket on a tote bag. I have some of this beautiful light blue denim, and I'm going to make the tote bag out of that and use this on the pocket. And I have enough of this fabric, I think specifically this one, that I'm going to make the lining out of this fabric for that tote bag. I would like to get that embellished, and I've already gathered threads and different things that I'd like to use on there. Let me know if you would like to watch me work on that one. That will be a simple block and a tote bag. I think that looks like a great summer project to work on. So there is my to-do list. I always have other things I'm working on, but I'm not going to show you every little bitty thing. Let's take a look at a few of the other things that I've done this year. Sometime last winter, probably January or February, I watched videos from this lovely young woman who makes these spun cotton critters. I'll leave a link to her website in the description box below. But I had to try my hand at them because I love little critters. And so I made a cute chicken, which I just love. There's the rabbit with his wonky little ears. And then my favorite mouse, and he's got a really long tail. So definitely still learning and playing with them, but that's something I'm having fun with. The biggest issue is the kitties think that they're play toys, so I have to watch that. But I dearly love these tiny little strawberries. They're really tiny. They were a great project to kind of learn the basics of playing with spun cotton, so I hope to be doing more of that. Now we are in my office, and we're going to take a look at some of the artwork that I did this year. I did not do a lot of dedicated painting this year. I've been very focused on stitching and trying to get some of those projects done. But I wanted to show you a few of the things that I did. I played with setting up a gouache palette this year. I put in a real limited spectrum of colors. I had a lot of fun playing with every combination you could get from those colors. If you use just 3 of them, you get a completely different look depending on the combination, from the really bright ones to the really dull ones. Depends on what you're doing. I have these for reference, and that was fun. That actually took hours. I think I spent 3 days working on those. When I go to the mountains, I love to take my grandkids. And one of the things that we did was we made these little simple sketchbooks. It's just a piece of cardstock. And then we put watercolor paper, and I had everything cut and ready. And then they sewed just a simple stitched binding. And then we took those up and played with them. They've got theirs, so I don't have theirs to show. I can put a picture here that you can see. So that was fun. I usually take just my little moleskin book, and so I want to show you the 3 watercolors that I did, because I didn't paint every day that I was up there this year. So here is one scene, and I believe I did this one when the kids were painting with their books. And then this one was using my new gouache palette. The last one I did was from Bear Lake. That was the painting I did shortly after sunrise, when the sky was just turning light and the light was just starting to reflect onto the water. And I wrote a little bit about my day on the back. Near the beginning of the year, I worked on a project that's kind of a long-term project for me. I have this imaginary cottage that I call Rosebud Cottage that I've been working on for years. I've got floor plans and I've got lists of everything that this little house would have in it. I made up a garden plan for it. This goes back to the early 90s. I started doing that, I think, in 1991. I suppose it's one of those lifelong dreams to be able to do something like this. But I'm going to give you a glimpse into my notebook that I'm dedicating to Bramble, which would be my imaginary travel van. I'd love to have one of those little transit connects that I could go travel in and have just a simple thing in the back of it. And then my Rosebud Cottage. And so I drew them out, full of bluebirds of happiness, and of course an orange kitty cat and some mice. There's a rabbit. And then I've been working on putting the plans into color and having fun with that, and making lists of some of the things that it would have in it, and that's about as far as I've gotten. So that's kind of an on-again, off-again project that I've been working on. I always have a clipboard going, and I'm always drawing stuff on it. And the most recent things I'm working on are needing to redo my studio. I've been drawing up some ideas for that, looking at possibilities for things. This is actually probably how it will turn out to be. But this all takes funds I don't have. I've been working on some ideas for some stitch sampler stuff that we're going to start probably in February. We'll talk more about that at a later date. For 4 to 5 days a month, we'll be working on stitch sampler, and we'll work on several variations of that particular stitch. When I was looking at buttonhole stitches, I think I came up with 72 stitches without even really thinking about it, and also have some motif type stitches to go with it. There's a lot of possibilities with some of these stitches, so we're going to be playing with that. I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at all the projects that I finished in 2024. as well as our crossover project, the Autumn Pillow project, and then looking ahead at some of the projects that I'm going to be working on in the coming year. January, we're going to focus on finishing the Autumn Pillow and learning how to set up a stitch book and making a cover for it. I look forward to sharing those with you. I do hope to do a little bit more artwork. That's something I've really missed. I haven't done a single oil painting this year, which is really unusual. Oh, I take that back. I did do one. I actually did an oil paint on one of those trips to Rocky Mountain National Park. And that's the only oil painting I did this whole year. So I hope to be doing a little bit more of that. So here's to 2024. I'm grateful for all the things that I was able to accomplish this year. I hope we have lots of fun stitching in 2025 and that it's a good year for all of us. Thank you so much for watching today and for taking a look at all the projects that I finished in 2024. Happy stitching, and I will see you in the next video.